Hello, my students. Today we have lecture number 5, class of inorganic compounds. In lecture, we will consider several problems. There are oxides, acids, base, and salts. Main class of inorganic compounds we can see on slide. Oxides, first type of chemical compounds are oxides. Oxides are complex substance consisting from two elements, one of which oxygen. Base, second form of chemical compounds are base. Base are complex substance in which atoms of metals and hydroxy groups. And third type of chemical compounds are acids. Acids consisting from hydrogen atoms and acid radicals. Last type of chemical compounds are salts. Salts are complex substance which consists from metal atoms and acid radicals. We can classify these types of chemical substance according to there are things. For example, by oxides classified by type of chemical bond. For example, ionic and covalent bond. And second forms of chemical things is acid-base properties. By their acid-base properties, salt-forming, non-salt-forming, salt-forming oxides classified to amphoteric, acidic, and basic oxides. And oxides can classify by their composition: normal, mixed, peroxides, oxides. Second form of chemical compounds are base. Base classification we can see on next slide. Base can classify according to the number of hydroxyl groups and by solubility in water. According to the number of hydroxyl groups, can classify base to monobasic, dibasic, and tribasic base. And by solubility in water, soluble base or alkali. For example, lithium, sodium hydroxide. And non-solubility or slightly soluble iron hydroxide, chromium hydroxide. Third forms of chemical compounds are acids. Acid classification. We can classify acids by their number of basics. For example, monobasic, dibasic, tribasic. And acid can divide to strengths and oxygen contents. Oxygen content, by oxygen content, acids can be anoxide and oxygen containing acids. For example, anoxide acids we can take sulfur hydrogen, and oxygen containing chlorine acids, and strong and weak by their power, we can say about sulfur acid and nitrogen acid. There are strong acids and weak acids. There are carbon acids and carbon oxide and sulfate acids. Classification of salts by composition. Salts, we can classificate salts to several types of salts, such as sour salts, mixed salts, double, complex, basic, medium salts. About obtaining oxides, we can take or obtaining oxides by other reaction. For example, the interaction of simple substance with oxygen. Second, combustion of complex substance. Third, decomposition of salts when heated, and decomposition acid when heated, decomposition of insoluble base on heating. Obtaining base. We can obtain or take base from several chemical process. For example, first, interaction of active metal with water. Second, interaction of active metal with water. And last type of obtaining base is electrolysis of molten salts. Obtaining acids, such as oxides, bases, we can take acids by various chemical process. First, interaction of acids, oxides with water, and the interaction of hydrogen with a non-metal. And the third form of obtaining acids is exchange reaction. Obtaining of salts. First form, metal with non-metal. This reaction can be proceed between basic oxides and acid oxides, and basic oxide and acid, and acid oxide between base. In the result, these reactions, we can take several types of salts. Chemical properties of base. Base can connect several types of chemical compounds, and such as acid, soluble salt, acid oxide, and other. In these reactions, we can obtain it salt plus water, salt plus insoluble basic, salt plus water. Insoluble basics, when we heat it, they decompose to oxide and water. Chemical properties of acids. On slide we can see the chemical properties of acids. Next slide. On next slide we can see chemical properties of salts. According to traditional and international title or name, we can call this chemical substance. For example, water. Water in a traditional title, we can, according to traditional title, we can call water. According to international title, we can call hydrogen oxide and other. And about base names, in traditional title, for example, sodium hydroxide, we can say according to international title, we can say sodium hydroxide. About nomenclature of acids, in traditional title, salts and other chemical substance we can call, for example, hydrochloric acid. In traditional title, according to traditional title, we can call salt, simple salt. Salt nomenclature we can see on last slide. These types of chemical substance we can see and use in their nature. For example, salt and marble. And the next slide we can see the role of activity metals. And next slide we can see genetic relationship between class of inorganic compounds. And I will finish it. That's all. Goodbye.